Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode here in NHL 23. So I am pre-recording this episode. I know I asked you guys about signing suggestions and trade suggestions, but I don't think it is necessary with the quality of our roster at the moment to make any signings or trades. So we are going to wait till the start of the season to see if we actually need to make trades or not. Yeah, our roster is very exciting going into this next season. We did re-sign Lafreniere and Makar on one-year deals just because we had the cap space to do so. But you can see our roster looks still pretty good. We got Reefers, Vance, Nazar, Cox, Kabanov, Ziska. We also have Lafreniere, Little, Bales, Patterson, Packer-Slotty, who might make it as a depth option this season. On the right side, we have Recchi and Corrado, and defensively, we have Makar, Brunstrom, Lowry, Morris, Niedermaki, Ovechkin. It shows Spiller, but likely Spiller is going to get another year in the minors, and he will replace Cale Makar once Cale Makar decides he is going to leave this team. And likely we will be using Kavanaugh as our depth option this coming season. And then from a goaltending standpoint, we still have Pitton, and also at the moment Donald is qualified, but likely he'll be back again next season. But we do have Howden, who is on the uprise, and likely I'd say Donald is not going to be here much longer in that sense, because I feel like I don't want to be paying him like $8 million, but then again, I might end up doing it depending on if he's actually a good goalie at that point, because usually elite goalies are not worth that type of money. It's kind of worth it to find like a goalie that's going to be kind of like underrated in a sense. Like Pitton, we just gave him a 4-year deal at $2 million. That's a solid contract for a goaltender who might be able to win us a Stanley Cup. But if you're paying like $6 million plus, you kind of get into those iffy goaltenders that maybe do good during a regular season, but their playoff numbers are absolute shit. Sorry about that, my voice completely died on me. But anyways, yeah, so that is that. I don't think it's necessary to make a single trade or a signing. Our top six was phenomenal last year. There is a little bit of drop-off, I think, because of statisticalness. So Nazar's dropped down to an 86, and Cox is down to an 84. So I don't know if Cox comes back at the end of the season. He is a pending UFA. And he probably is going to ask for, not that bad. He might be a serviceable third-line center at some stage. I don't think he's really of a second-liner. But, yeah, we might be able to still afford him and bring him back. But with Lafreniere up for renewal, Makar up for renewal, it depends on how these guys do this year. I wouldn't mind bringing them back for another season. But then again, we do have young guys in the system that are hungry to take those chances away from those veterans. But, yeah, very excited to see what this team does. Look at all this RFAs that we have in our roster. Like, we have so much young players still on the roster that this is going to be an exciting season again. Like, literally, everybody that we've drafted on this roster is 26 and below. Because these 4 players here, we didn't draft those guys. Nazar was a guy I made for this franchise mode. Reefers was somebody I traded for, or actually I signed in free agency, never mind as well. Lafreniere I traded for. Makar I signed. And then goaltending-wise, I drafted both these guys. So I literally drafted everybody on this roster pretty much, except for a couple players, and except for like Cox as well. Cox I got from the Rangers. There was a couple other trade acquisitions, I think. Never mind, actually, there wasn't. But literally all these guys we drafted on our roster pretty much. So it's a very interesting squad, and I am very excited to see what happens with this team. Hopefully, Vance has another 60-goal season in him. If not, hopefully he has more 50-goal seasons in him, because usually he is a very good goal scorer, so we'll see what he is all about at the start of the season. And yeah, hopefully we have some good looking lineup to start the season, because we didn't really make any changes to our roster from last year. So I'm hoping that we could have a similar outcome to last year in a sense, but this time around we actually get to a Stanley Cup Finals, because getting to the conference finals was really nice. I wasn't expecting to get necessarily that far, but we managed to get all the way that far, and unfortunately we lost to the LA Kings, who went on to win a Stanley Cup. But I think this time around we definitely have a chance at maybe even being a little bit better in a sense, because we're getting more growth from those younger guys. So we'll see what this lineup is looking like in terms of like chemistry and all that in a little bit. Like I said, not making any trades or any signings. It's kind of pointless. One of the RFAs accepts that is Hart. That is the one guy that we acquired from the New York Rangers alongside Lafreniere in the trade. We did let go of Rammer, who was one of the ones we got also in that trade. It's just because he wasn't accepting like $1 million or $925,000, and it was just kind of pointless to bring him back at that stage, especially with guys in the system. So Okay, so we still have 9.7 in cap space, and we only have our one RFA at the moment, which is still Donald. What is he asking for now? Still 8.25. His asking price has not came down much, but that's okay. We'll definitely simulate another month and see if it comes down even more so. But yeah, we're kind of running out of time with him being like an RFA status goaltender. And then he's going to demand $8 million, probably get paid by another team like $8 million, and then he's probably not going to do that well there. 2 third-round picks for a third and Gustafson. No, thank you. Not trying to make any trades for like depth options here. We're using guys in our system because I believe in our farm system more than any players on other teams, really. Adam Pelech and Jack McBain for a second and Fitzgerald. No, thank you. Not trying to make any trades, like I said. Unless there's something that completely blows me away. No, thank you. And no, thank you again. I don't know why all these teams want that low top 6 defenseman. Anthony Cirelli in a 5th for a 5th round pick. He's only got 1 year left at $9 million. He's probably terrible at this stage, but I just want to take a look at this for fun. He's probably dropped off a cliff, right? Yeah, he's a 77. No wonder. They just want to free up some cap space, basically, is the thing. But I'm not going to help out Tampa Bay. No way. After they won all those Stanley Cups in real life, it's like, nah, not going to help you out there. Let's go to our contract situation and give Donald a contract. We'll see if he'll accept some lesser money now. Yep, he wants only $5 million. He's only an RFA for this next season or so, and then after next season, he'll be a UFA. So this might be one of his last times here, but hopefully he has a good season ahead of him. If he has too good of a season, though, he might demand a shit ton of money, but I think he's probably going to leave anyways, and then Howden will likely be our backup next season, just because I think with his elite potential, he should jump up to being like a 79 by next season. We'll see. So there we go. Donald's is accepted. We have still some cap space too, which is nice. So we do have some flexibility in terms of maybe making some trades at the deadline, because considering we didn't do anything like that during the offseason. But yeah, let's set up our roster here. Wow, Packers Lottie jumped up to an 81. He's still listed as a depth option. I probably will still use him as a depth option, but damn. Okay, so let's set up our lineup the way we had it at the end of last season, just because it'd make more sense that way. Yeah, wow, okay. I guess Little is going to be on the 4th line. That's a bit of a problem. Yeah, it was a bit of a problem with bringing back Lafreniere. Ziska is still listed as a depth forward, so he's okay to be 4th liner. And we are going to be taking Package Lottie out for Patterson, because I do like myself some Rodney Patterson. He's the power forward. I did have Corrado before on the 4th line as well, so that's probably the problem, as Corrado jumped up. Bales is actually only an 80 overall. He's actually listed as a checking forward, so actually I will probably put him on the 4th line, even though I do like Bales. And we did sign him to a very long-term deal. I mean, 2.4 for a 4th liner is not bad either. So, yeah, he's going to be a 4th line option this season. And we'll run with Lil, Kabanov, and Corrado. Kabanov is almost into the top 6 territories. So once he's up there, I feel like Cox might be on his way out unless we use Cox more as a 3rd line center. But Cox is like a perfect fit for that 2nd line. Kabanov, not so much on that 2nd line. He's more of a fit for the top line, apparently. Which, I mean, he could technically take over that top line spot maybe once Reefer's, his contract is over, but we'll end up seeing about that. Holy crap. Okay, that's a problem. I knew we were going to run into something. So Kavana jumped up to an 83 overall. He was literally a 78, and now he's an 83 at 24. Okay. Wow. I was expecting him to be a 78 because I was going to use him as a depth defenseman this year, but obviously I can't use an 83 as a depth defender, because that's where you run into problems. Wow. Okay. Literally we have all these guys listed as top 4s instead of Ninamaki, except for Ninamaki. I want Ovechkin to be playing for sure, though, is the problem. Who the heck do I move out on this defensive core? That's the problem with bringing back Cale Makar. I wasn't going to bring back Cale, but it's only on a 1-year deal. So if we run into anything problematic, and maybe I will trade away, get rid of Cale Makar. I don't really know. I think Kavanaugh will start the season. I think I'll probably alternate between Kavanaugh and Ovechkin for every 10 games or something like that, just for now. But when it comes to the trade deadline, we might have to make a decision on trading somebody away on this defensive core. I did just sign Lowry to a 5x5 extension, but I was not expecting Kavanaugh to go from a 78 to an 83 in 1 year. Like, he's more of a defensive defenseman, I think, than anything. He does actually have good offensive awareness, so he might be able to help us out a little bit. But, yeah, I don't like scratching Ovechkin at all. But I'll probably alternate every 10 games up to the halfway point of the season, just so they're kind of getting a balanced approach. But I don't like that at all. I do not like that at all. Package Slotty, at least he still has his depth option. So, and we're going to call it part as the other depth option just because he actually is like kind of a depth forward. But man, so many problems with keeping this roster as is. And look, Spiller's listed as a top 6 defender. So we're definitely going to have to let go of Cale Makar at the end of the season, I think, for sure. Just because of that. Yeah. Because Spiller will be in, and then I guess somebody else on this defensive core will have to go. And just who the heck is it going to be? Because these guys are all so young, so we definitely have to think about moving somebody out. We have 6 defensemen listed. Actually, Ovechkin's listed as top 4 as well. He's not going to like his ice time at all being scratched. Oh boy. Yeah, that Kavanaugh thing really caused a lot of problems. Because, like, the only thing I could think about doing is sending Niittymaki back down to the AHL. Like, he's not waiver eligible. But I don't want to have 2 top 6 defenders playing in the AHL. So I think I am going to probably alternate between Ovechkin and Kavanaugh every 5 to 10 games, which is a bit problematic, but I mean, I don't want to be trading one away at this point. I mean, I could trade away Kavanaugh just because he's kind of like new to the NHL team, but I got to kind of test out with him in our lineup. But more than likely, I'd say Makar's gone. Via trade, at least he should be, or maybe not even via trade, maybe in the offseason. And then we have to think about getting rid of another defenseman on this younger core in order to get Spiller into the lineup. Wow, was not expecting that in the slightest, but yeah, this is definitely going to be very problematic. But yeah, I think every 5 to 10 games I'm going to just alternate between the 2 of them, just to try and keep them as happy as possible. And hopefully they get a decent amount of ice time. Let's make sure Kavanaugh gets like top line penalty kill time or something like that. And we'll take Brunstrom off that unit. And we'll put Brunstrom on the 3rd unit. Just because that way at least Kavanaugh and Ovechkin, when they're in the lineup, they're getting top line penalty kill time and top 6 ice time. Which is still not a lot of ice time for a guy listed as a top 4, but it's better than nothing. We'll do the same for the 3 main units as well. But, whew. Yeah, I was not expecting that much of a jump up in 1 year. Like, I know he has low lead potential, but my god. Up to an 83 in 1 year. Okay, so that's going to be our forward core. That's going to be our defensive core to start. Maybe actually I'll put Kavanaugh up into the top 4. Yeah, maybe I'll do that instead. And then Kavanaugh will swap, like I said, with Ovechkin. Once he comes back, Ovechkin will probably go down to the top 6 though. And Donald's up to an 87. Yeah, our team looks really good. And I hate that I have to scratch some young players like Package Slotty, but I think Package Slotty is more of a depth option anyways in his career because he was a 7th round pick. Like, he's got the offensive tool bag to be a really good player, but I don't know if he's really like, I don't really know where I could slot him in on this roster. Like, maybe once Lafreniere's gone, he could get into the lineup a little bit easier. But right now, Lafreniere and Makar are definitely holding back our young guys, which is what I was thinking when I was re-signing them. Is just like I didn't really want to re-sign them, but I know that you guys want me to try and be as competitive as possible, and I think Makar and Lafreniere definitely give us a shot like that. But I think also having those young guys in our lineup could be really good too at some point. So I think Lafreniere and Makar, if needed, might have to get traded this year just because of the young guys in our system, or young guys in our system get dealt, something like that. But it's a really weird scenario with this team. Wow, that was a lot longer to start up a season than I thought, but man, was not expecting that much of a jump up. But like I said, we'll do every, I'd say let's do every 10 games for Ovechkin and Kavanaugh. and hopefully we kind of find out who's the better of the two. I think if Kavanaugh's not that great, we could trade him away easily, and then we'll have our problem solved at least for the rest of the season. And then we have to think about getting Spiller into our lineup for next season. And I don't really know who on the defensive core I'd let go of to get him into the lineup. So 6-1 in the preseason. Not a surprise that we had a great preseason. Nazar had 10 points in 7 games to lead the team. So there is that. Let's get to the start of the season and do 10 games at a time. I don't like going every 10 games, but we have to kind of do this so everybody on the team stays a little bit happy. Like, I think somebody's going to lose morale probably for being scratched, though. And that's not going to be great. Okay, so 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 against the Ducks, and that's game 10. So we'll go up to the 8th, and then we'll make our first defensive change. We should be pretty automatic in terms of winning games. Yeah, we're 3-0 to start the season, not a surprise. There's a 4th win in a row. This team might be a historically good team if the sim engine works well for us. 5-1-1 in our first 7 games, and Lowry's been injured, so Ovechkin's going to get in a little bit early, which is okay. And we lose 2 straight games after putting Ovechkin in, and now Lowry is back. But Ovechkin's going to go back into the lineup shortly, just because Kavanaugh is going to be taken out. Kavanaugh is actually an 82, but still. So Ovechkin taken out, Lowry back in, and then Ovechkin will come back in for Kavanaugh after this game. And we lose another game. Wow. We started off good, and now we've lost 3 in a row. That's kind of odd. And wow, Asher Vance, 8 goals in 10 games, 13 points. Not a surprise. He's going to probably hit another 60-goal season this year if he keeps him on that pace. And I mean, that top line is good enough to definitely give him a lot of goals with that chemistry. Okay, so we'll move Lowry into the top 4. We'll take Kavanaugh out, and then we'll throw Ovechkin in for the next 10 games. And then we'll put Kavanaugh back in, kind of alternate like that. Like I said, I think it's going to be good in a sense for us to have that internal competition as well, kind of just to see who's the better option, and then we can move out the one that isn't. Right now, I'm kind of leaning more towards Kavanaugh because he's already 24, while Ovechkin's, I think, like 22. So, kind of leaning towards Kavanaugh since he was a late-round pick, but it's kind of weird to move out a young guy that's that good. But we've already had to do that multiple times because we've already had to get rid of Datsuk. That guy literally we let go in last episode. Like, he wouldn't have been able to crack this defensive core either. Like, it's that good of a defensive core that we have so much problems with who's actually going to be on our roster. So that's 6 games, 9 games, 10 games right there against Minnesota. So the next game that we're going to make a change is against the Rangers. Wonder how Billy Pettersson's doing there. Because the Rangers, like I said, have not been a good team in this franchise mode. 3rd round pick and a 5th for a 5th in Weatherby. No, thank you. Don't need no Jesper Weatherby. Or whatever his name is. Big trade offer, but it's a really bad one. Our medium elite goalie prospect and 2 other prospects for Nick Schmaltz, who I don't want back in Chicago, for 3rd and a 4th. No, thank you. That's kind of a weird offer. Like, why would I get rid of an elite goalie prospect for Nick Schmaltz, basically? No, thank you. Not claiming people really on waivers. A 5th and a low top 9 of mine for a 4th rounder. Is this low top 9 actually going to pan out? Let's see. I'm kind of curious on why Ottawa wants him. 58 at 19. We get the move up in the draft. I think I'm going to accept this deal. Ottawa's off to a terrible start too, so they'd probably just need prospects at this stage. 4, 12, and 4. So yeah, let's just do this trade. Why not? You guys could take my low top 9 prospect. I probably won't use him anyways at some stage. So 11, 8, and 1. A little bit of a weird start to the season, but wow. How are we under point per game, our top line? And how is Vance under point per game? Reefers only has 16 points in 20 games. Okay. So Kopitar might be making us too defensive or something, but we're in a wildcard spot, which is good, but everybody on our team is under point per game. So we probably have really good depth scoring, or there's a problem with this team, which I don't understand how there could be, because this team is really deep. Let's take Ovechkin back out, put Kavanaugh back in, get Kavanaugh back into the top 4. I won't know who's going to be the better of the two between Kavanaugh and Ovechkin, but let's do another 10 games. Like I said, I want to get to the halfway point at least of the season, so that way we could kind of see where we're sitting and all that. So yeah, basically each player is going to get 20 games between the two of them. We'll go to game 40 at the end of game 40 because we can't go to game 41 or else we'll have to put somebody else in. That type of thing, and they'll get one more game in. So 3 games, 6 games, 12 games. Okay, so the next game is against Colorado. But yeah, I don't know why we're off to a little bit of a weird start in terms of offense. Like, it's good to be a good defensive team, but when your top guys are all under point per game, it's kind of weird. Like, we must just have really good depth scoring. And Recchi has been injured till January 11th, so Pakish is going to get a big chance to play on that second line. So we'll see how good he does as well by the time we take a look at our player stats. Okay, now we're starting to win a lot of games. 18, 10, and 2. That's pretty damn good. And now Reefers is over point per game, so our top line is starting to wake up, it looks like, a little bit. Considering it was like 16 points in 20 games before for Reefers, and now he's doubled his point totals in 10 games. So that's impressive. Let's go back to edit lines for the last 10 games of the season so far. And like I said, we will put Ovechkin in for this last 10. Nobody's dropped off morale-wise so far, which is good. So I guess every 10 games is the right way to do it to keep everybody happy. But somebody on the defensive core has got to go. I think Makar goes this offseason, and I think we have to make a tough decision on one of the young guys just to get Spiller in. Because or else Spiller is going to be like a depth defender, and I don't want that. So 5 games there, 8 games there, and 10 games there. So to the 14th. And then we'll be 40 games in. Seems like we're doing pretty good with what's his name, Pakish in the lineup. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce his last name. If it's Pakish or Lottie or what. Like it's a weird last name. It's Finnish, so maybe Husky, Flame Husky. You could if you're watching this episode, you could tell me how to pronounce it because I honestly have no idea. Recchi is back. That's good news. I don't know how Pakisladi's been doing, but more than likely he's doing pretty good since he's getting a lot of ice time as a depth option. So last 2 games, I stopped the simulation. Damn it! One more game, and then we'll be halfway through the season. Pretty much. There you go. 26, 12, and 2, and we had a lot of better offensive games in the last little while. So definitely improved a lot since we were 20 games in. And yeah, Reefers 44 points in 40 games, so nobody really running away point total wise, but that makes me think our depth scoring is going to be absolutely insane. So let's take a look at our team stats and then our player stats. And yeah, I guess next episode we might have to make a tough decision with trading somebody away, but we'll see. So currently we are the 4th best team in the NHL, 3 points back of the top 3 teams, which are all LA, Montreal, and Winnipeg. We have less games played than Montreal and LA. In terms of goals for per game, we are the 3rd best offensive team. So yeah, we definitely have good depth scoring. Colorado and Montreal are above us by a little bit. Goals against per game wise, we are the 2nd best defensive team in the NHL. That is fantastic. So I love to see that our offense is good and our defense is good. Power play percentage is average, so maybe we need to change up our power play unit a bit. It's not the end of the world having a mediocre power play, but we're 19 for 122, but we're still one of the best offensive teams in the NHL. And penalty kill percentage wise, it's also looking like the same. So our special teams maybe need some work, but other than that, we're a good team. 11 short-handed goals already, 40 games in. Jeez. So despite not having the great penalty kill, we're scoring a lot short-handed. 13-7-1 on home ice, 13-5-1 on the road, and 8-2 in our last 10 games. Not bad at all. Let's take a look at these player stats. See who is doing what for us. So Reefers, 44 points in 40 games. Pretty solid. How's his face-offs looking? Is he a Selke candidate maybe? 53%, 52 takeaways already. Yeah, he might end up winning a Selke. Depends on some other guys around the league. Asher Vance is only on pace for maybe around 46, 48 goals. So he might not hit 50 goals this year. But it depends. I know he has really good second halves of the season sometimes. But now he's up to an exact elite because he's 27. I'm going to be hitting that exact potential soon too. Considering my birthday's in April. And I guess this episode's going up in April, which is kind of nuts too. So. But he's still on pace for an 82-point season, or 83, 84, because we're not exactly halfway through the season. Azar's got 40 points, so 3 of our top liners are all point per game. That's good to see. Kabanov, 24 points, on pace for maybe like a 50-point season. Not bad. Cox, 23 points. Yeah, see, that's the problem is Cox. He's not getting actually any power play time, though, I believe. So maybe I should put him on the power play. Because he's producing at the same level as Kabanov, who's actually on the power play. So maybe not. Ziska, 19 points plus 10. Solid stats. He's still listed as a depth forward, but he's been a very serviceable fourth-line center. And all of our guys that are taking faceoffs are above 50% on the draw. Because Reefer's 53%. Kabanov, actually, never mind, 44.2. Cox, 58.5. That's fantastic. And Ziska's 53.7. So we're really good in terms of winning the draw, at least in set for Kabanov, who also could play right wing if we need to. Lafreniere, under a point per game, but still on pace for maybe like a 60-something point season, which is pretty solid. Bales, 22 points. And he is getting short-handed ice time as well to help out his fourth-line ice time. He's got 3 short-handed points already. Pretty solid. A little 16 points, a little bit eh. And so far to start his career, because he got thrown into the top 6 and power play, Matty Pakashlati, 10 points in 13 games, 6 goals. So maybe we need to get this guy into the lineup somehow. At some stage. I mean, he's a fantastic depth option right now. I don't know how he would be in terms of being a full-time NHLer, but he's looking pretty good. For a guy that was drafted 193rd, fantastic. Patterson, only 9 points in 40 games, but he's not really getting a lot of ice time with our team. Yeah, he's barely getting ice time. I would love to have him on a power play unit at some point because I know he has the goal scoring ability. Because look at that shooting. But that offensive awareness isn't super high either. But he should be able to get into our top 6 at some stage. It's just we have to get rid of like Lafreniere and stuff first, more than likely. Corrado, 23 points, not too bad. And Recchi, 23 points in 27 games before his injury. Now he is back though, which is good. So basically in terms of forwards, we are getting fantastic depth scoring. Our lowest point total player is Patterson with 9 points. And in Pakashlati with 10 points, but he's only played 13 games. So basically, everybody on our forward core is almost at 20 points already on the season. Which is kind of nuts instead for Patterson. Like if Pakashlati was playing instead of Patterson, we'd have probably a bunch of guys at 20 plus points. And we're only halfway through the year. So our fourth line's basically on pace for 40 points, some of them. Which is kind of nuts. From a defensive standpoint, Makar on pace for a 70-point season again or so, which is not too bad, but he is dropping. He's down to a 90. So, yeah, this one probably is his last year here just because of the guys in the system. Burnstrom's having a solid start to the year, 26 points plus 9. Len Morris has been fantastic defensively. And he's already got 10 goals randomly, which is really weird. 10 goals and 3 assists. Yeah, he's a goal-scoring defenseman, but that's a little bit weird. 10 goals in 40 games. But he's got the really good plus-minus as well, plus 21. And he's not even on the power play, apparently. Niittymaki, 11 points, pretty solid. Not the best offensive defenseman, but he's not really getting a huge shot yet. Once he gets into the top 4, I think he'll do a lot better. Lowry, 4 points, plus 19. Fantastic. Ovechkin, 4 points, plus 14. Fantastic in 22 games. And Kavanaugh was a plus 4 in 20 games with 2 assists. So, I think Ovechkin's probably the better of the two. Which means Kavanaugh, maybe he gets dealt next episode. Just to get in a depth defenseman into the team and not scratch a good guy. Or we could just keep alternating between the two of them. Kavanaugh was getting 4 more minutes of ice time. Picked up less points. Ovechkin was getting less ice time. And that's maybe why he was better plus-minus wise. But yeah, so far I think I'm leaning towards Ovechkin. He's also got the X factors. Kavanaugh does not. So I'll leave that up to you guys if we want to make a change or if we would just want to keep alternating between the two of these guys the rest of the season. But one of them will have to likely go in the off-season. And then we'll probably have to get rid of Makar as well. Like, I honestly don't know who else I want to get rid of other than Makar in the terms of the defensive core. Because if Kavanaugh goes, Makar goes, that would probably work. But, yeah. Yeah, it'd probably be Kavanaugh, I'd say. I don't know. And goaltending-wise, Donald's off to a great start again. 23, 11, and 1, 3 shutouts, and 9, 12, and a 2.56. For a guy that's an elite goaltender, he actually simulates like one. Like, he's got a similar record to last year already. He's got the same amount of shutouts. He's got the same save percentage and a lower goals against. I mean, we have a good team in front of him as well, so that's probably going to help him out quite a bit. But it's good to see an elite goalie actually playing like one. And then Rudy Pitton. Not off to the best of starts. He is 4-1-1. But an 892 save percentage isn't great. And he does have a low goals against because of the team probably. But I did extend this guy for quite some term. But at least he's only making $2 million. It's not anything earth-shattering. So, interesting. I don't think there's any problems with our team. It's just more about trying to get the right guys ice time, pretty much. In terms of the entire league point-wise so far, we don't have anybody up there. Goal scoring-wise, we don't have anybody up there. So that's kind of surprising not seeing Vance up there. Defensively, wow, former defenseman of ours that we had to get rid of, Kevin Korchinski's doing really well in Florida, but obviously he wouldn't fit with our defensive core this season, and Makar's having a good year. He's not going to be probably winning the Norris this year unless Byram has a really bad second half, but Bo Byram's doing really good. Goalie-wise, so far, Donald is up there in wins. Is he up there for the Vezina potentially at the moment? In terms of games played, let's see. It's probably more like Swayman at the moment or Tarasov. Yeah, Tarasov is probably the one that's going to win the Vezina unless he has a really bad second half. But Dahlin definitely up there as like a nominee, I'd say. And so far, rookie-wise, the best rookie is Robinson Walton in Philadelphia. Let's take a quick look at our AHL team as well just to see how the youngsters are doing down there. Just because we do have some guys to take note of. So, none of those guys I drafted. Okay, Gorodov's nothing really anymore. Bobkov's nothing really anymore. Laurikainen in his first season has 9 goals and 1 assist. This guy likes to shoot the puck. He's one of the low elite potential guys that might end up making it at some point. Cogliano's low bottom 6. Teuton's nothing, I don't think. Yeah. Most of these guys are nothing. 90's nothing. Weeks is in the AHL. I forgot about that. Lane Weeks has made the AHL. He's a 76 at 20, so he might be NHL bound next year as well. And yeah, he's one of the power forward guys that we drafted. 76 at 20. He also has 9 goals and 1 assist. And same with this random dude. A lot of guys aren't passing the puck down there, it seems like. And then Spiller, fantastic. 30 points in 34 games at 19 years of age. Only 1 goal, but 29 assists. And yeah, he's a top 6 defenseman. He's definitely on pace to beat his career total from last year. And yeah, he should probably be in our lineup as soon as possible. So I definitely think he's going to be the replacement for Cale Makar next year. Because I don't think I could bring back Makar as much as I like him. And Howden's been pretty solid down there. He's listed as a backup goaltender. Oh my goodness. We have so much like things to take note of. Like, what do I do with Howden? Do I play him as a backup to Pitton next year and let Donald walk? I don't know. And Tukio's a 76. Wow. Problematic. I don't know if I should even take a look at the trading block because I don't think we're going to have to make any trades, to be honest, in next episode. But I'm going to not pre-record next episode because obviously pre-recording too much is not great. But damn, the first overall pick's a guy named Healy. I wanted to go to the trading block just to take a quick look at it. But I honestly don't think trades are necessary for this team. Unless it's just one of those type of moves, like I said, moving out Kavanaugh just because of like bouncing around between ice time. Get some value for him while we can, so to speak. Hey, look, that Beta guy's on the block. I think some of you guys told me about signing him a couple years ago, but I didn't end up doing that. There's good players out there, but we have so much already. It's just like, I honestly don't know what to do. It'd be nice if Vance could have a really good second half, though, because he's definitely kind of taking the Austin Matthews route in a sense after scoring 60 goals, being on pace for only like 47 goals. 40-something goals. So, I mean, I definitely think he can get back to 60 goals. And the Rangers have Pettersson on the block, so Ville Pettersson might end up getting dealt. He's off to a pretty good start this year, actually, in New York. So New York might have actually turned some things around, but for some reason he's on the block, probably because of 1 year left. But, damn. That is pretty funny to see our former player there. I don't know if that trade really worked out for us or not. Because I think Cox has been decent, but I don't know if he's been that guy for us like that we expected. Like, I mean, I could put him on the power play and find out, but there we go. That's the trading block. One last thing. Let me take a look so far at progress reports just to see if anybody else that we have like unsigned is developing crazy well. Camachi's developing, I guess. Man, it's just crazy the amount of prospects we have. Like, I am literally, like, it's not really a problem to have that much prospects, but at the same time, I hate flipping away young guys. So far, Weeks is not getting any development down there, but he probably will be by the end of the year. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode. So in next episode, we might make a trade if you guys think it's necessary. If not, we'll probably keep flipping the defensemen in terms of ice time, Ovechkin and Kavanaugh for the rest of the season. And yeah, this team's on pace for like 52, 54 wins, somewhere around there. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.